Before I was married, before I had kids, when I was dating to find the one, right before I met Grant, and when I was in that phase of dating, physically, I was at the heaviest weight I'd ever been at. Now, the weight I maintain now is the weight I've maintained since I got married, and I'm going to tell you how I've done that and why that's the case. With the exception of every time I had a baby, my weight would fluctuate with the pregnancy. But before and after each pregnancy, I was really easily able to get back down to my pre-pregnancy weight. And just to make things really easy, I am gonna use numbers, and I'm gonna be really forthright about the numbers, because to me, it's not a reflection of value or some perfect number that you're gonna attain, but I look at numbers as a really great way to measure things. And so I'm only 5'5", and not even quite 5'5". So height has, importance in how much you weigh, right? And when I met my husband, I was at the highest weight I'd been at in my life. I've always been really petite. So again, these numbers are really specific to me, but this is also where each one of us needs to make peace with the number that is right for each one of us, and it's different for every person. So when I met my husband, I was like 137 pounds, which is not a lot, but I'm also a really petite person. And the way 137 looked on me, I looked chubby. And my husband even said after we got married, he's like, yeah, when I first met you, I thought you were kind of chubby. And I was wearing a brown dress, and he hates brown. And so the first time we met was not as memorable for him or me in that moment, because he thought that I was a little chubby and I was wearing an ugly brown dress. And so I didn't stand out in his mind. As we continued to interact, we both really started standing out in each other's mind. But when I met him, I was at the highest weight I'd ever been at. And I was also probably the most insecure around my physical appearance at that time. Now, also to put that into context, when I gave birth to our first child, the day before I gave birth, my weight was 139 pounds. So I weighed as much as I did when I met him as I did when I was 9 months pregnant with our first baby. Now, what was really interesting about that time, and I struggled with an eating disorder through college, not really badly, but it was still a really challenging mental health and physical ideal that I was dealing with. And I realized that my physical health is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing I have. And if I lose that through, binge eating and treating my body poorly and trying to get rid of food that I've eaten by throwing up, things like that, I knew that if I continued to do that long term, this would not be a healthy lifestyle for me. And one of my biggest dreams, and one of the things that I prioritized as so important for my future, is to get married and have kids. And if I was abusing my body, how could I expect to have a body healthy enough to hold a child? And so one day I decided that instead of trying to control all of my food and all of my portions and feeling like I shouldn't eat this, or I can't eat that, or this is better, or this is, this food is healthier. And of course, there are better choices in food. There always will be. But I was in my head so much about it that I realized what I needed to do is just let go of all that. And so I went through a period of time where I just gave myself complete permission to eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted to eat it. And when I did that, I gained a little bit more weight. And so I started to feel a little bit nervous. That evoked a little bit of fear within me. But then I realized I'm really going to commit to trusting my body to process the food that I put into it. And the one other criteria that I'm going to have for myself when I eat is that I love it, that I enjoy it, that I allow myself to have an experience of pleasure when I eat food. And so as I trained myself to love what I was eating and to eat only things that I truly loved, and to enjoy the experience with every part of my being, something really interesting started to happen. I started to naturally shed the extra pounds that my body really didn't need. Now, during this time, it also coincided with when I met Grant. And so I gave myself permission to eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, no matter how healthy or unhealthy or any of these criteria that we put on food. I just let go of all of it. And once I let go of all of it, I just wanted to allow my body to do its job, and my job was to live life and enjoy it. And all of a sudden, these pounds started falling off naturally. I wasn't doing anything else other than just really enjoying my food. And I started dating my husband. And I felt like between those two factors in my life, I was in this joy. And when you're in a new relationship, there is a lot of love and excitement and fun things that are happening. And I think that makes it easy in harder lifestyle changes, or have, let's see, I think that being in love can put your body in a place where maybe you gain weight, maybe you lose weight a little more easily without thinking about it. But at this time, what I was trying to do is really engage in being present. And so as I started dating this man that I was falling in love with, and as I started trusting my body to process food when I ate it, and to process food in a way that I wasn't trying to judge it before it went into my mouth, but just letting things be. Between being in love and trusting my body got down to what I would consider is my perfect weight. And it was my high school weight, senior year, when I was fully grown, fully developed. And I was active, and I just had a really healthy body. And it was kind of like this moment in my life where I felt like this is the healthiest I'm ever gonna be. And letting go of that belief, this is the healthiest I'm ever gonna be, and stepping into this new belief of I can be as healthy as possible every moment of my life, and it doesn't have to be defined by a high school weight or pregnancy weight or anything, but in this moment. And I found that allowing my body to do the job that I was trying to do for it, when I was trying to control what I ate and feed it what I considered healthy and not feed it what I didn't consider healthy, but then wanting the unhealthy things and letting go of all that, my body found this amazing homeostasis, so that by the time I got married, my weight was 117 pounds, which is what I weighed in high school. And I felt so incredibly beautiful for my wedding, and I felt so ready to be in a wedding dress. And I didn't go on any crash diets. I didn't try to eat to fit into my dress. I just was allowing my body to feel the pleasure of eating and not feeling guilty for eating junk food or not feeling guilty for overeating or any of those things. I just allowed the process of eating food to be enjoyable. And when I did that and got to the point where I had my ideal, what I would consider my ideal body and my ideal body weight. So that was 18 years ago. And since that decision I made, I've never struggled with my weight ever again. And that feeling has been a feeling of freedom, because I know I can eat whatever I want. And I still feel that way. I only eat the things that I really, truly love. And it feels so good to eat, and it's so enjoyable. And I never have any of this negative energy. If I want to have a candy bar or, a donut or any of those things, I have it and I enjoy it with all of my whole being. And, it's really easy to say no to things that I don't love. And for me, I don't love sugary candy like Starbursts and Skittles and things like that. I also don't love chips and things like that, but I love donuts. I love plain cake donuts, not glazed donuts. And I can eat those whenever I want. I can eat as many of them as I want, and I maintain the weight that I'm at because I feel like I've created a partnership with my body where my body communicates to me what it is that's ideal for my body, and I am able to respond to that. And when I want to eat something, when I want to enjoy something, I do it, and my body responds with allowing that to be my enjoyment, and my body doesn't then punish me by saying, oh, because you were unhealthy, now you're gonna gain weight. It's just this beautiful communication. I might have, a couple donuts, and then my body will feel like I need to go walking. And so instead of feeling guilty for eating 2 donuts or 3 or, however many, I feel like it's time for me to go walking. And so it's this beautiful communicative relationship that I've created with my body that's allowed me to stay in this homeostasis for nearly 2 decades now. And I'm not saying this is the answer for everybody. What I want to do is share the experience that I've had in struggling with an eating disorder, struggling with self-image, struggling with feeling like I can eat this or I can't eat that, and the process of letting it all go and allowing me to love everything that I'm doing, and as a byproduct of that, be in a body that communicates to me how it needs to be taken care of, and I know how to listen. And that's also given me an incredible love and respect and admiration for the body that I live in. And it makes it really easy to love my body. And I think also in my experience in interacting with my body, and it's not that my body is actually like talking to me, right? But it's this sense that I get, it's time to go for a walk, it's time to go to the gym, it's time to have a donut, it's time to have a glass of wine. All of these things, I feel like now feels like the time, and I'm not overindulging in anything. I'm just engaging with my body in a way that, does this feel good right now? In a way that creates the health that I'm looking for. And there's a lot of ways to hone in on that. There's a lot of ways to tweak that, but that's not what I'm getting into now. I'm just getting into what's the relationship that you have with your body. And the relationship I've cultivated with my body is one of open communication, which has allowed me to respect my body, and respect breeds love. So it's not about the numbers. It's not about weighing 117 pounds, which I don't weigh in this moment. I've really been working on putting on extra muscle, and muscle has weight to it. So I'm at a significantly higher weight than that. I'm at a relatively higher weight than that right now, but I'm at a weight that I really, really love. And it's not about the numbers. It's not about being at a high school weight. It's not about being at a pre-pregnancy weight or a post-pregnancy weight, but my body's been through all of those things, and there's a perfect number for my body right now, and that's the number that I'm at. And that perfect number may be different when it's wintertime, and it may be different in the summertime. And with engaging in the flexibility of feeling what's the very best thing for my body now, I feel like that's allowed me to be in communication with my body in a way that allows me to live life fully in love with my body. And I don't even think about ever. My mind is not ever encumbered by feelings of hate towards my body, or feelings of I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't do that because, you know, it'll make me look a certain way. I just engage in life. Having all of that brain power being taken up by self-loathing, I've replaced it with self-acceptance. And it's freeing, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful. And it's freeing, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful. So how do you love your body?